So this is the recap for live stream 265, I believe. And due to the volatility, we've recovered the losses that we did make last Friday. So let's talk about what's happened here. Now we've made our P&L across 3 trading sessions. We've got the Asia session, the European session, and the New York session. We started at the New York session because we saw the Bitcoin market, and over on the Bitcoin market we did see quite a bit of volatility over the weekend, and so we thought, well, there may be a lot of volatility translated through to the equities in the open on Sunday. We can see here we've got the breakdown of our P&L by instrument. We picked up 157 on ES, 483 on NQ, and 100 on gold. Gold certainly could have been higher if we would have traded a little bit differently in the European session rather than looking for the bigger move, simply taking the profits that were on the table and taking designated targets. What we'll do is we'll have a look here at what happened in the overnight session. So if we go all the way back to the overnight session, we had a big gap down. Market was down about 4 or 5%. At some point, it did seem like we may have that the dreaded limit down. I think that was pretty much the obvious thing, but the market had other ideas. We had some fundamental news. A lot of the market's trading on the tariff-related news. I know that over the weekend it's been said that some countries are agreeing to redo tariffs with the United States. So there were some fundamental factors, especially after the big sell-off we've had in the previous week. So let's just have a look here. Might as well put the executions on. There we are. So I didn't want to take trades exactly around the open because I need the volatility to drop a little bit. It came in. I took a couple of short trades, it seems, here. Managed to get to target. And after that was on NQ. After that, I pretty much was no longer interested in taking any more trades. I had other tasks that I needed to work on away from trading. Over on ES, if we go back to the overnight session, again, same reasoning. We had a big drop in Bitcoin. We've got the fundamental news. I thought Bitcoin could be a bit of a precursor for the market. And so I decided to trade the Sunday session. And what we did see was we did actually have a losing trade through here. We had a bit of a mixed bag. So we took a long trade, and as we can see here, we lost. We actually closed the position. Yep, I actually closed the position. It wouldn't have hit the stop, but I closed the position because I didn't like the price action. I thought we'd take out the lows and limit down. So I took an unnecessary loss through there, a fairly big loss on the ES. After that, went long, closed it for break even because it wasn't a true setup. Went short, added, of course, target was hit. After that, had all the tasks that I needed to complete away from trading. So that was the end of the session there on ES. Over on gold, let's see, did I take gold in the overnight? Oh, I did. I did take a few gold trades in the overnight session. So let's put the executions on. Took quite a few trades on gold, actually. So over on gold, we can see I went long, price came back, suffered a loss, was in drawdown, went short a couple of times, and there was a break even there. That might have been a mistake. Went short, got to the take profits, picking up the profits there. After that, went long, got to the targets through there. And with that, that was the end of the long trades there. So managed to recover some of the losses across the trades that I was in losing positions in. After that, we came to the European session. So I was actually here, but I decided I wasn't be trading. And I saw this tremendous move to the upside on gold. Saw 97.8 move in not a very long period of time during the Asian session. So we'll then go back to the European session. I think it was a pretty mixed on gold. Yes, it was. So on the European session on gold here, I wanted to see the bigger move. So because I saw, this is where the bias came in. Because I saw this bigger move to the upside during the Asian session, I thought, well, as prices come down to this blue line, which is our VWAP, came down to it twice, well, multiple times, I thought eventually price could just go back, retest, or at least break the highs. So I was looking to pick up about $20 or 200 ticks on gold. Well, gold had other ideas. So I went, went long, added, and through here, I had a small gain as price came down to stop me out at break even because I had a designated target at a 46.3. Price hit the level, adjusted my stop to break even, was stopped out due to the average price. That's the reason why that's a gain. Over on this side as well is a similar scenario. Had a designated target and price came back. So there's a lot of break-even trades through here. As we can see, there's a small loss there. There's a small loss there. And these trades are just reflective of me not taking profit, just having taken break-even. I think eventually, was I stopped out or did I close out? I was eventually stopped out here. I might have been stopped out here. Or I closed a position. It's a pretty small loss, actually. Might have closed. No, because I was executed higher, sorry. I was executed on part of the, bought up the average price, so there was a loss there. So there's a couple of losses through here, break-evens. That was a reflection of me not taking profits because the designated targets would have been hit. Designated target would have been hit there. A designated target would have been hit here at the 45.2s, at the 46.3s, and the 50.8s. So they would have been hit, which would have banked some profits. Okay, I would have lost in a portion of the position, but there would have been certainly profits that could have counted towards the P&L. And that was pretty much it for the trades there during the European session on gold. European session on ES. Let's just have a look here. What we did. I think it was another successful session, but we'll have a look. So we came to the market around about the open of the European session. Took a couple of long trades. Targets were hit. Another couple of long trades here. Targets were hit again on these trades. I decided to go short. Thought prices may come back. Went short. Suffered some losses. This is where I went into the big drawdown. And the big drawdowns reflected on the equity curve. So this was a drawdown overnight during the Asian session, and this big drawdown is what I'm going to show you right now, where we lost, we were up at 369, so we had a pretty smooth equity curve, a lot of winning trades coming into in the European session, but it went on this big drawdown all the way down to this 113. So, and it was because the market had continuation rather than reversing. So went short a couple of times here, and the market continued. Eventually, I did actually have a short to the downside, and because I drew down by the amount I did, having a balance of only 113 after building the account up to 369, I decided I was going to do what I said I was going to do on gold and look for the bigger move. So went short, of course, added to the position. The designated target we're looking at here on ES was down at the 1250s. So what I did was at 1250, adjusted my stop to break even on the two portions that I was in. Eventually, price came down to the VWAP on NQ, started seeming like he was going to hold there, so decided to exit early and picked up 183 there. Over on, that was it for the European session right there on ES, so I decided to stop trading at that point. There were some more opportunities that would have worked out perfectly, but I decided to stop trading. And over on NQ, during the European session, you can see got to the market pretty early on. Had a couple of long trades through here, similar to the ES. ES and NQ have been trading in sync with one another. A couple of long trades worked themselves out. A couple of long trades again worked themselves out. And this is where part of the big drawdown that we did see from the 369 down to the 113s. This is where that took place, as I was short in the market as it continued to the upside. So went short a couple of times. And as you can see, fairly big losses to the upside. More shorts through here, more stop outs. Only by a couple of points or so, but still stop outs. Eventually did the same thing I did with the ES, went short at the designated target. They were 38.50 and 29.25s. Decided to adjust my stop to break even and look for the bigger move to the downside. Now, after seeing price come down to this blue line here, which is our VWAP, I noticed price was stalling, and I kind of thought, well, we've got these lows over here that were formed early in the morning, the pullback lows. So we've got these lows over here, and if we look to the right, so from here to the left, we look over to the right, it's coming to that area. We also had VWAP, which seemed to be holding the market. So as soon as the market tested the VWAP, it was immediately bought back up. So I didn't like that. So despite the fact that I wanted to hold all the way down to about the 16,636, I decided to close the position right there. Eventually had a long setup, and it was a pretty aggressive long setup. I thought about not taking it, but I decided to take it. Took the position, added to the position not long after target was hit, and that took me up to 400 on the day. So from 114 at the Asian session, I left the European session up at around about that 400 mark, just right there. We can see on the time to the left, we left just right there at 400. From there, we've of course come back into the US session, and over at the US session, we can see what transpired here. So at the US session, of course, weighted market fell to the downside. I had a setup right here. I decided not to take it, the long on the NQ, and also decided not to take the long on ES, and that was pretty much because I thought, well, the market's sold, maybe they want to retest the lows. And even though the strategy was saying to go long, I thought, well, maybe prices would want to go down to at least say the 600s or something, or possibly even retest or break the lows, but decided not to take it. Thought we could reject the 200 period or the 50 period. Well, we can see here, didn't take the long, and the prices went all the way to the DT, which is designated target of 17,144, which is this green line. That was very disappointing because I would have achieved my goals for the day at that point. Over on ES, it was the same scenario. I didn't take it for the same reasons. Again, price, because where price was on the NQ, saw that we're into this 50 period on ES, so decided that I would not take it. And as you can see, price got all the way to the designated target, which is a DT, up at the 983.50s. Again, that would have been disappointing because it would have meant I'd have hit the target, P&L target for the day. And so I had to continue trading. And from there, of course, there was this move to the upside, an unbelievable move. So from the lows here, early part of the US session, we've had this move to the upside, which is just absolutely, you're looking at about 1,700 points in So you're looking at 1,685 points. It doesn't even matter how long it took, but it was a pretty short period of time, because we're looking at from the 45s there, what about 9:45s up to about 10:20 Eastern Standard Time. Not very long. Had that move to the upside. What was even more out of this world was this breakout here. So this breakout from the 256s resolved itself to the 18,357s pretty quickly here. We're looking at candles which are over 200 points to the upside with the volatility. I thought there might have been some news, but I wasn't sure. I just measured this out to see the volatility, the fact that we had like 400 points in 3 minutes or so. Now, the strategy said to go short, so went short, and due to the level of volatility, as I was adjusting my target, the target was hit just like in an instance. 50 points was just hit in an instance, which is a little bit frustrating on the NQ here. So went back in short again, added to the position, and through here, the reason I exited and not allow price and didn't allow price to get all the way down to the 17,202, which was the designated target, was I had some issues in terms of charting. So on these charts, the price was saying one thing. On my other charts, my trading view charts, I had prices like be 100 points off, and that was a bit worrying for me. I didn't like the fact that I didn't know the exact placement of the targets and stops. And so I decided to just leave the take profit I just put randomly down here, just leave it there. And of course it was executed, picking up a fairly sizable P&L right there before prices pulled back, got into the 50, retraced from the 309s all the way up to the 96s. Again, 300 plus point move there to the upside before it finally resolving itself all the way down to the designated target, the DT here of 17,202. So of course, if I didn't have the charting issues, we could certainly have hit the designated target and had a better day in terms of P&L. Over on ES, it would be the same scenario. Didn't take the trade long. Eventually, now over here I actually had a short trade. So I had a short trade here, and he actually had a 40-point stop. Yeah, I believe it was 40 points of stop. So went short, and almost instantly price turned around, and within a 1 minute candle stopped me out here. And of course, we've seen the candle go even higher on the ES. It didn't quite set up on NQ, so I didn't take it over there. But I'm support, it's a loss, but I'm okay with that. Over here, similar scenario as to the Nasdaq, went short, and the fact that I couldn't quite figure out the charting, I decided I was going to close a position, I believe. Yep, I closed a position right there because I just could not figure out the charting. The prices were different across the charting platform, so I decided to exit. The designated target on here was down at the 49.8775, and price came all the way down to that 49.8775. Let's see, how low did we go here? 8,725. Wow. Yeah, we just went 8,725 and reversed from there. And we've pulled back from the 87s there all the way up to the 140s. So that was a pretty good area to have a target. And that was pretty much it for the ES and NQ. We'll go over to gold. Did we take any trades during the US session here? Let's have a look. We did. We did take some trades. So we took a couple of long trades here. Targets were hit. And after that, we didn't get a setup, so we just haven't been trading gold. And after walking away with a realized P&L of 741, the loss recovering all of the losses from last Friday, where we lost to minus 593. We decided to, of course, walk away, and we're not going to continue trading here, especially with the level of volatility we're seeing on NQ and ES. Currently, the range on NQ and ES, let's see, NQ is up at 1,901, the high to low range on NQ on ES is 454, and the current range on gold isn't that huge. It's only at 99.4. So we've seen a tremendous day in terms of volatility. We have the VIX sitting up, got as high as 59. But that pretty much just wraps up the day. So what I'll do is, part of the European session was actually cut off due to connection issues. But you can find the videos on the channel. So the videos are a little bit shorter. The most recent New York video here for the New York session is only about an hour. The European session, the partial cutoff between the 2 hour, maybe about an hour between the two videos. There are also missing parts, and about an hour for the Asian session. So with that said, thanks for watching. Good luck trading. Have a great day.